Alrighty, everybody. I think we are good to. Wait, I'm not good to go. It says I'm starting. Alrighty, everybody. So apparently I'm now live, and I have a presentation for you all. So, oh nope, it just that's unfortunate. It just got the last page, so I'm gonna go back into my Canva. Sorry for the delay here, but I have a presentation ready for you guys, and it's on Canva, so it's easy enough to start up. We'll just start it from Canva, and we are talking all about meal prepping. So I appreciate your patience once again, and I'm just gonna get on my phone to double check that you all are seeing what I'm seeing. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. So I'm just gonna go into presentation mode on this, see how my presentation's going. So I appreciate your patience once again. Oh yeah, and you hear me. Perfect. Alrighty. Well, guys, we are good to go. Here is the PowerPoint that I made for you all. Improve Your Diet, Meal Prep 101, Tips and Tricks by yours truly, DMart Training. For all my Facebook people, if you're not already, follow me on Instagram at DMart Training. Let's get into the meal prep stuff. And I'm going to actually pull my phone up as well so I can see any comments that might be coming in. If you're listening to this, feel free, definitely go ahead and ask any questions as we go, because I'm going to be trying at least to view these on my phone. Alrighty, let's get it. Go to my page, go to my live, maybe. There we go. I think I'm good. Maybe not. This is tricky. I'm just going to double check and make sure I'm not completely wasting my time. Yes, okay. We're chill. Meal Prep 101, tips and tricks. Let's talk about it. A lot of people know about meal prep, but they constantly make excuses because they know that a lot of people fall into the same traps. When I was working at a commercial gym and I would talk to people about, what they can improve about their workout and diet routine, a lot of the excuses I heard of why people don't meal prep is the biggest one: I don't have time, or maybe they just don't know how. They're not motivated enough to, but they know how. So we're going to try to address all three of these things and make sure that you leave this presentation inspired to meal prep. Because what if I told you that you could save more than just time in the long run as you're meal prepping? I truly believe that, and I think that you'll see a lot of the reasons of why I'm making these claims as we keep going through this presentation. Let's do it. So I want to break down kind of like the time, the calories, and the money. 2 hours a week, which I think is a realistic expectation as you're starting to meal prep, can go a very, very long way in terms of having you ready for the week for everything that you need to eat. There was actually an observational study completed by someone named Hamrick in 2014, Hamrick and colleagues, where they found that the average American spends 37 minutes a day preparing or getting food. For men, that was 22 minutes. Women, that was 51 minutes, which averaged out to about 37 minutes a week. If you multiply that by 7 days, and then you divide by 60 minutes to get hours, the average person is spending 4.3 hours a week getting food. Doesn't seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but if we're thinking 4.3 hours versus 2 hours when you're meal prepping everything, you're shaving down a lot of time, more than half the time. So if you're feeling stretched for time, if you're feeling like, man, it's tough for me to really manage all this, make sure you're meal prepping. But I think what's even more kind of astounding and impressive is the calorie breakdown. So let's get into that. As of 2019 is when I got these statistics. I went into Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, and McDonald's to find like what a typical meal might add up to calorie wise. So if you have a Chick-fil-A sandwich with some fries, and you know that Chick-fil-A lemonade is money, So you're getting that as well. That's adding up to 1,020 calories. For your standard recommendations for calories, that's more than half. So that's just one meal is taking up more than half of your calories. Pretty crazy. Chipotle is even worse. So let's say you have a big burrito, which granted, not everybody has a burrito and chips, but let's say you're treating yourself that day. You're getting the burrito, you're getting the tortilla and chips with a guac, and you're getting yourself a little lemonade for a drink. 2,070 calories, guys. More than what is recommended. Of course, if you're working out, you could probably take on more calories than just 2,000. But I've been in a diet where I've had less than 2,000 calories. So the thought of having all my calories in one meal, especially as I'm trying to lose weight right now, is not an enticing thought. And then McDonald's, your classic tried and true. You have a Big Mac, a small fry, and a medium sweet tea. You're looking at almost 1,000 calories once again. So fast food calories and just eating out in general, they definitely add up very quick. Whereas if you're meal prepping, you know exactly how many calories you're going to be consuming and you can control that, right? You can tailor that exactly to whatever you need. For me, a lot of the times my meals are about 550 to 600 calories with I would guarantee a much better macronutrient breakdown, having a lot more protein, a lot less fat than these fast food options. So if I haven't convinced you now with time and calories, let's look into the money. I went through and just briefly glanced at the menu. Food prices, especially fast food, they have been going up lately. Uh, that meal from Chick-fil-A is probably going to run you about $10, about $15 from Chipotle, and then McDonald's is still $9. Like these, they are really going up in price. And then if you extrapolate that to a weekly scale, let's say you're eating out 2 meals a day, you do breakfast at home, that's $190. $190 a week on food. I typically budget $100 a week personally. That's just me. Everybody's different because I think my groceries are a little bit more expensive than the average, you know, 25-year-old dude. But, I'm accounting for like 7 days worth of food and then one meal out a week. I think that's a pretty safe estimate on both ends of the spectrum. But, you got to ask yourself let's say, you're preparing your food is, an hour to 2 hours of your time. That's $90. Like if I'm getting paid $90 an hour, I'm going to take that time and prepare that food. That's the way I kind of think about it. It's not a perfect example, but I think it's definitely important to consider the price discrepancy as well as the calorie and the time differences. So addressing that, how do I get started? A lot of people aren't exactly sure. We're not taught in school how to do this stuff. Unfortunately, I wish we were. But I think it all starts at the grocery store. This is just an example of what I typically get on a week for my different meals. I'll kind of briefly go through. Um, I always like to get some type of fruit. Bananas is just kind of like the typical one that I get. Sometimes I'll get strawberries, blueberries, doesn't really matter. I always have fresh carrots and broccoli. Those are kind of like little easy snack foods. One of my main carb sources is sweet potatoes. If I ever need a little like pre or post workout snack, rice cakes, protein bars are another great snack. I love pancakes in the morning, so being able to do a protein pancake is clutch. And then for my lean proteins, chicken breast, lean ground beef, tuna, milk. Sometimes I'll use milk, other times I don't have to. Eggs, of course, is another good breakfast option. Greek yogurt, great source of protein, great snack right there. And then frozen veggies for all my other veggies. Just out of convenience mostly. You could do fresh or frozen. I don't think there's a huge difference there. That's my example grocery list. Sometimes people need inspiration. Other times you know exactly what you should get and you just got to go out and get it. So make sure if you need it, take some inspiration from me or just go out and hit the grocery store. Here are some of my best tips for meal prepping. First and foremost, find the easiest method of cooking. For me, that's grilling. That's what I find to be most time efficient, One, because I can get in and out within 20 minutes tops. There's not a ton of cleanup involved. All you got to do is scrape the grill, make sure it's semi clean before you use it again or someone else uses it. And so, in terms of cleanup and preparation time and cooking time, the grill is super super friendly. I'll be out in December grilling in the cold of December on the grill. Of course, everybody has different things available to them. Air fryers are a great, fast, convenient way. You can definitely do it with a traditional pot and pan, though. Like, don't let me discourage you by talking about the grill or the air fryer. You can do it either way. But the easiest method is always the most adherable method. So make sure you're keeping that in mind. Adapt foods you like. So there are so many ways that you can incorporate foods that you like into your meal prep process so that it's not a miserable one, right? So I talked about protein pancakes. Another big staple for me is stir fry. I love some high calorie stir fry with sauces and tons of fats, avocado, all that stuff. But I think you can still enjoy a pretty tasty low calorie stir fry almost as much as you would like if I were to ball out and get stir fry from like a hibachi place. Like you can definitely adapt the foods that you like into lower calorie options to make them enjoyable. So talking about portioning, I definitely think that this is the part where a lot of people they know roughly what they should do, but man, you can really mess this up. So if you're trying to be as exact as possible, using a food scale is super clutch. If you don't have a food scale, or if that adds too much stress to your life, you can do a couple of guidelines, right? So like your proteins should be about the size of your palm. Your veggies and carbs would be like a fistful, and then just like the size of your thumb for fats is a good proxy. And then, of course, you're going to want to store everything appropriately after you've portioned it. So I'm a big Tupperware guy. The fridge is always full of my Tupperware or glassware, depending on what your preference is. Super easy access. You just get those out, pop them in the microwave. You're good to go. And then I'll also freeze certain foods for the later half of the week because I only meal prep once a week now. I don't eat anything that's been in the fridge for over a week. You should probably even do less, but I've never had a bad reaction yet, so I'm going to keep tiptoeing that line for sure. But I wouldn't recommend over a week for real, guys. You're going to get food poisoning. Here's my process. So preparing your protein is always first. I always think about my protein first because we got to make some gains. So I will marinate my chicken or whatever other lean protein. I'll like separate lean ground beef into burgers, whatever you got to do with your protein. I think a good marinating rule is like 4 hours and you'll be good to go. And it makes it so much more tasty when you're eating like a marinated chicken. I marinate my chicken in like like low calorie, low sodium soy sauce and teriyaki sauce, which is another low calorie sauce. And it tastes very, very good after you've grilled it up. On that same note, I'll either start my rice in my rice cooker as I'm going out to grill, or if I'm doing sweet potato fries, which I grill on the grill as I'm cooking the chicken, I do it all at once. So that way, 20 minutes, everything's good to go. Um, I'll even this is how much of a science I have it down to. So I have my chicken on the left side of the grill, my sweet potato fries on aluminum foil sheet on the right side, and then on that side burner, I have a big pot with all my veggies. And that's efficiency for you right there. It's all being done at the same time. I combine them, put them all in a Tupperware, portion them out, weigh them out, or use your food proxies for your portion sizes. And it takes me about an hour now. It might take you longer if you're first getting into it, but definitely I've become way more efficient with my process, and hopefully you can take some advice with yours. Alrighty, wrapping things up, kind of like in summary, man, you save so much time meal prepping versus going out, driving to get your food, waiting in lines, waiting for yourself to be served. Man, once you get that process down, it's like clockwork, and it's even enjoyable. It's become one of my habits. It's part of the routine, so I don't mind it at all anymore. It does take time, but once you get there, you'll be fine. As I detailed, you're spending almost twice as much if you're not meal prepping versus meal prepping. So, finances, something to keep in mind. If you spend an extra $100 every week for 52 weeks in 1 year, that's like $5,000 that you're spending that you could have saved. So, and the health aspect, the nutrition aspect, you know exactly how much you're getting, how much oil was used to cook it. You can portion out to fit your goals perfectly. And like with those calorie estimates, those are estimates. It could be plus 100, minus 100. You never know exactly what you're getting with food that you're not making. So just something to keep in mind. If you want to be as on point as possible, you're going to be cooking your food. That's all I have for this little presentation, guys, and then I'll be able to go back and check out the group. But I do really appreciate you guys for checking out my presentation, and I'm going to see if I can turn this screen share off, which I don't even know if I can.